Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of OneMicNite Podcast, the podcast that brings you stories of artists on their journey, helping to guide, answer questions, and motivate you in the business. Now, it's been a while since I posted an episode, but I'm back, and today I've got a great guest. But before that, please, if you haven't already, make sure you download, share these episodes. Got a lot of interesting people, and I want to share them with you, with the world. Also, one other quick announcement. This podcast will be moving from its original host site to Anchor FM coming up. So all of you who are on Podbean, we're going to move over to Anchor in the next episode. So today, I'm very honored to have the guest. It's rare that I have filmmakers on, but this guest is definitely inspiring. He is an award-winning filmmaker, director, producer, writer, and he goes by the name of Zay Rodriguez. What's up, Jay? Welcome to OneMicNite Podcast.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, Marcos, for having me, be a part of this. It's a pleasure. It's an honor. I'm thrilled to be here, doing this podcast with you and with the rest of the world that's going to basically be seeing this podcast. So thanks.
Thank you for coming. Listen, I have questions. First question.
And I have answers.
You got answers for me? Good. That's what I like. Who is Zay Rodriguez?
Who is Zay Rodriguez? Okay, so should I start when I was born or reborn? And I'll explain that a little bit. Okay, well, so basically, my real name is Jose. I actually broke into the independent film scene in 2012. And basically from then on, I've been known as Zay Rodriguez. Who is Zay? Basically, Zay is just your average Puerto Rican guy who, was born and raised in North Philadelphia. Parents are from Puerto Rico. So, I've been Americanized. Nothing wrong with being Americanized, being born here and having parents from the island. I think it's a privilege, it's an honor. I've graduated from high school. It's been a long time now. I graduated from Malini High School out here in Philadelphia in 2005. I didn't attend any trade or college. What basically I did was I focused my passion, which is film writing, directing, producing, editing, basically the whole 9 yards, and been involved with the business ever since. So that's a little bit about Zay Rodriguez.
I like that. How were your parents? Did they help you? Did they, say it's okay, do it, do what you want to do? Or were they a little bit devastated when you said you wanted to be a filmmaker or a writer?
Well, that's a very good question. I believe that what you call it, my parents were very supportive, and let me explain. Having me, bringing me into this world, and actually pushing me, with my studies and making sure that, I was doing the right thing, basically is a huge support all in all. So I never once heard, them say, hey, you can do this or whatever, but I know that the support is there only because of the background of, from where I came from in regards to school and just being a good son, doing the right thing. Some of the time, when you're a child, you can be a little, a little crazy.
Yeah, but, a little mischievous, a little mischievous,
here and there. How kids are.
Right.
But I do believe in my heart that they are very supportive, and I thank them. I thank them for being my support system.
Mm-hmm. Did you go to a school for the arts, or was it just something that you just stumbled upon on the way, and you just decided I like this?
So option B, I didn't go to school for the arts. What happened was I was a young adolescent, and I basically decided, hey, let's just let me just try this out. Let me see, you know, how I look on camera. Let me see how I act. And, you know, one thing led to another, and I've basically, life's been my teacher. So, you know, every person that I've met, whether it was professionally or personal, and even the filmmaking business, it's been, you know, one hell of a you know, one hell of a ride.
I like this. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, because you said something. You said something that was really, really important. You don't necessarily need to go to school in order to be working in the field. It's the people that you meet along the way and the life lessons that you learn.
Exactly. So, you know, I always say that what works for me may not work for you, and vice versa.
Right.
So if you know, pursued better education, if you feel as though, you know, college basically it's gonna move you, you know, to where you need to be moved to, by all means, you know, I'm a huge fan, you know, I'm a huge supporter, you know, when it comes down to that, you know, because knowledge is power. And who wouldn't want to have that on their you know, on their resume? But as far as I go, you know, I don't sit there and think, you know, just because you don't go to school, you know, you're not gonna excel. Basically the progression comes from within, you know, like that's with anything that you do, whether it's professionally or personal. So, you know, with me, I felt, you know, I saw myself, and I still do to this day, you know, life's been my teacher. I'm still, you know, a work in progress myself. I'm learning, you know, every day. I'm learning even from this podcast to, you know, be confident and you know, take life for what it is, and just what you call it, just honestly, just be in the moment. Live your life in the moment. So that's me.
And I have to say, the practicality of it all is yeah, you don't necessarily need the schooling. There are some technical things you need to learn, but I'm a firm believer that you can learn those while you're doing it also.
Exactly.
You know, and it's the failures that teach us what to do better the next time.
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah. So what do you think about being, have you ever worked for any, you know, of the commercial films, any of the large projects, or have you always been on an independent route?
So I've always been in the independent route. And again, I'm not here to tweak my own horn here and say, you know, call myself a big shot, but I feel like anything that I've done to me is big, you know, whether it's, if I'm on a independent set, on a large set, or just on the biggest stage of all, which is life, that's pretty much big for me. So would I love, you know, to make it to, you know, higher heights, you know, Hollywood? Of course, you know, it's basically like every filmmaker, every artist, every actor's dream to pretty much be under those bright lights. But, you know, lights are lights. It's how you basically manifest your vision and your dreams and make, you know, Hollywood or Broadway where you're at today. You know, you don't necessarily have to be there present in that moment. Make the moment, create the moment, because no one's going to give it to you.
I love that. I love that. That's absolutely right. I mean, it's actually being in the moment, and you're right. Lights are lights. It doesn't matter if you're on Broadway. Yeah, you're playing to a larger audience, you know, or, you know, if you're in the theater in Hollywood, you're playing to a larger audience. It doesn't mean that the work that you're doing now, right here on an independent level, that may be in a little theater in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, isn't as significant as any other.
Exactly.
So now I got to talk to you on so many different levels because you do so many different things.
Yeah.
Do you have a passion? Is writing more your passion? Do you have one thing that you like better than the other? Producing,
you know,
writing, acting.
That's like, you know, someone, you know, a parent, asking their kid, you know, which one of you do I choose? You know, which one do I pick? You know, one favors more than the other. No, not at all. I find passion in all that I do, because all that connects to basically what I do. It's a bigger picture. So a little bit of writing, a little bit of directing, editing, producing, just creating. Basically, that is a passion all in itself. And I do consider myself a passionate person, and I would never choose one over the other, because all of that basically there I go. All of that basically just connects to a much larger scale. So I can't say I can't choose one more than the other. I would say all in all is what I'm passionate about doing.
I like that. Is there a through line to your projects? So you have, let me ask you like this. You have a production company.
Yes.
What's the through line for the production company? What does it do? What's your goal?
So basically the goal is, I know how competitive the business is. It's very cutthroat. It's very competitive. Sometimes, you as an inspiring actor, you may not land so many, roles because of how you look or how you sound, or, the ethnicity, the backgrounds, and, just me keeping it honest. I believe that honesty is the best policy. You have to be transparent and open-minded and flexible, and not take anything so personal in this business. But the reality is the reality. So my company and me, what we do is we basically uplift, upcoming artists, anyone from the entertainment business, a model, an actor, a singer, a rapper, a painter. It doesn't really matter. It's basically, if you really want to grow, if you really want to take the opportunity, that's basically me. I'm a beacon of opportunity. I don't take any opportunities away. I am the opportunity. So it's one of those things where it's like, again, to uplift others, to aspire them to be their best versions. And basically, if they, decide to stay, great, we can continue to grow it. If you want to go, you've already have that knowledge, the experience, the education that, you needed, that extra push to, make it out in your own. So
you see it as a learning experience for everyone involved.
Oh, for everyone. It's not just, for me and the company. It's basically for everyone. Because again, without people, there will be no company. You can't run a company by yourself. A lot of people don't accept it, but you do need help. However way, shape, or form you see that, it's a company doesn't run all on its own. You have many different hats. Doing, different things that all connect at the end. So
that's amazing, because I feel like that's the biggest problem. I think a lot of people, and during this whole COVID period, a lot of people have started businesses and they feel like they can do this on their own, but it doesn't work. You need help. You need everybody's input. You need extra hands. You need extra eyes. You need extra everything to make the unit work.
Absolutely. You said it yourself. See?
How do you feel as a Latino in the business right now? We're at a big turning point where we're given the stage. A lot of things have happened in the last year for people of color in general.
Yeah.
But being a Latino, and we have one of the biggest movies out this summer, In the Heights, Lin-Manuel Miranda. He's doing big things. How do you feel? I feel like you're sort of on the forefront of that too. You're doing a lot of things too, and you may not be as well known as him, but you're doing the same thing. How do you feel being in the moment in that situation?
Wow. Well, being in the moment, I feel, me personally, I feel great. Because for one, I am Latino. I definitely pride myself being a Latin man, a Latin gay man at that, that's also its own separate, entity. But being a Latin man, in the business, I feel great. I feel that, Latinos are slowly rising up as we should. And that doesn't necessarily have to be in the movie business. It can be anywhere, in whatever profession it is that you're married to. So, I feel, I feel great. I feel that what you call it, we slowly are coming up because we've been behind, for quite some time, and with everything that's going on, today, it's a good outlet to really reflect on and really deliver, like create, like I said earlier, like no one is going to hand you something. Like if you have an idea, a vision, start creating, because that's the only way you're going to really, move forward. And, I always like to say that you never know who's watching. And a great example of this is you, Marcos. You didn't know I existed. I didn't know you existed until, content was created, social media, basically that is a huge tool. Technology nowadays, it's really a medium of good things and how you use them. So I feel great.
You actually touched on the next thing I wanted to say. How does social media help you, or push you forward in what you're doing, or push you backwards?
Well, it could definitely push you backwards if you allow it. I always say that what you call it, everything that you experience in the world is either through invitation or not through invitation. You invite social media into your life, and it all depends on how you let it affect you. You are in control. You can't let technology control you, and a lot of people, I feel as though they do let it control them, in a sense where it's like, you kind of get lost, you lose focus, but you have to remind yourself every single day, like, social media, technology is there, for the good. You can't always think negative. That there are negative aspects that come with things in life, but you have to look at the positive spectrum of everything and really take the opportunities that are present to you, to continue to move forward.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And I have to say that, like you said, we met through social media, because I went onto your page and I saw, from another person's page, I went to your page and I saw all the things that you were doing. And I said, let me check this guy's, IMDb out and see what he's doing.
Right.
And that's what inspired me. So even with that, I decided to take some of my content, and, of course we have TikTok and all these other things. So I decided, I do some crazy things on TikTok. And I said, well, wow, why don't I start using that as a tool for myself too? Because I, like you, am a filmmaker, I'm a producer, I'm a writer, I'm an actor. And so I said, let me start putting some acting content on.
Right.
Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't you?
Exactly.
That's what these tools are for.
Exactly.
That's exactly what they're for.
Absolutely. They're there to be utilized in a way that, again, if there's a TikTok, there's a reason why, it's out there. I've seen a lot of TikTok videos that, it just doesn't really go with the message. It's kind of like, people just on camera, just, acting a damn fool. And hey, if that makes you happy, great, right. More power to you. But, it's like pen and paper. What are you going to do with pen and paper? You're going to just, scribble, scrabble, or you're going to really, commit and write a beautiful story about, yourself, or something. Just go in depth, like you need to, like, man, it's you really need to invest, do a lot of soul searching. And I feel, going back to COVID, where everything was shut down, people had a lot of time to self-reflect.
Right.
I sure did.
Right.
And, I told myself, okay, COVID came, it's for a reason. Again, look at the positive aspects of it, even though realizing that there are negative things happening and affecting other people. Everybody else is not going to think like you, Zay, and that's fine. You do what you do best. You stay positive and optimistic, and you uplift others, and you attempt to do these things to move forward and keep your sanity.
How did you stay on track? Because a lot of people did lose focus. A lot of people were depressed about, what was happening and didn't know which way to go. The uncertainty of it all, losing a job, the fear of catching the Rona, what I mean? Like all those things happen. So how did you stay on track? How did you manage? Do you have a ritual? What do you do?
No rituals. I actually don't like routines, but I because I feel like with routines, it's just like the same thing over and over again. Like I've been there, I've done that. Where's the fun in that? But in this case, what helped me was, me basically looking at myself in the mirror every day and saying, like, who are you? Like, what's your purpose? Where you want to go? Where you've been? Just all that came into, me just self-reflecting on like the previous years and what was like, taken for granted. And then, COVID hit and basically we're all on shutdown. We couldn't really do anything. I wasn't really terrified to, catch COVID because I feel like, okay, well, I could catch something way worse, and that to me, it's not really a life-threatening sickness. It's mainly more like, I can lose a loved one. I can lose myself, my identity. That is way scarier and way sicker than, catching a disease for me.
Wow.
But, what kept me on track is just, my passion, my drive, my will to keep moving forward and not let anything or anyone, come in between that, not lose focus. And, it also made me realize that, we are human. We're vulnerable. When we're scared, we'll think and do whatever it is that's necessary to make it for one more day. And, unfortunately, that's not who I am, but, that's the reality of it, and America people really, if you allow fear to creep in, it's gonna damage a lot.
Yeah.
More than any pandemic.
You're absolutely right. And that was the whole problem. And, I think people struggle with that problem. Like, how do you keep it from creeping in? And that's where we were. We were at a really low point for the last year and a half, and it started with the thought of COVID. And then we had the whole series of events with the George Floyd, and that kind of snowballed into a lot of different things, a lot of changes, a lot of self-reflection, like you said. A lot of people saying, hey, I have to make a decision with what I'm doing, where I'm going, or some people just kind of got stuck. So you got left behind. So where are you now? That's the question. And how do we remain in touch with ourselves? I think that's the biggest question, so we can move forward.
Absolutely.
What do you say to people who are aspiring to be in the business, to be a writer, to start out in entertainment? Like, how do you, like we said, you didn't necessarily go to school for that, but how do you start out? You have it in you, the passion. How do you start out? How do we start out in the business?
Well, basically, I wish I knew what I knew now, what I know now back then. But what I would tell anyone that's aspiring to get into business is to really find your voice, really believe in yourself. And if there's something instantly that you love, keep doing it. Do the homework, put in the work, keep dreaming, keep working, because the more that you work for your dreams, the more that they manifest. And no one can stop you but you. So it's one of those things where it's like, just really experiment, really experience life, go out there, try different things, because eventually, I always say, someone is great at something, so you have to find it. It's not going to find you. Once again, you have to create. You have to do something that you truly love and move with it, because no one is going to hand it over to you. It may not be something that you love. you don't belong where you don't fit, you know, and you have to stand out, be original, be, you know, passionate about everything that you do, because it's gonna show. And again, you know, once you're passionate and, you know, you're passionate about your work, and other people are gonna be, you know, passionate and wanting to be a part of that moment, to be a part, you know, of that journey, because again, it's nothing but positive vibes and passion. So
passion and authenticity and being
yes.
yourself, all that equals being
Absolutely.
yourself. Yeah, that's it. I want to talk about some of your projects, because you have
Sure.
so many. If there were 3 of the projects you've worked on that we would know you best, or you'd say for us to go see, what are they?
So they would be ARiSEN. ARiSEN was my very first indie horror feature that I got involved in writing, producing. I even I had a little cameo appearance in it. It was so much fun. I did doubt myself at the very beginning because, again, it was the beginning. I didn't truly feel as confident as I do now with any project that I do. So yeah, I would say ARiSEN will be the top one. Second would be Benevolence. Benevolence is an upcoming short drama film based on a true story, my story. And how that basically came about is, you know, one day I was walking home from work and I encountered a stranger. She was a lady, an older lady, and, you know, she literally grabbed my hand, Marcos, and she was like, "Can you walk with me?" And I, you know, at first my first instinct was kind of like, "Hey, you know, what's going on here? You know, like, mommy and daddy are telling me up here, like, you know, don't go with strangers." But, you know, she was an older woman, and, you know, it was obvious that, you know, she needed help. So, you know, I decided to walk her home, and, you know, after that, you know, I asked myself, like, you know, this was a test, and basically, you know, a test of will, if I may say. And I'm like, I need to turn this into a screenplay, even if it's 2 minutes. Even though, you know, Benevolence is probably going to be like a 10 to 15 minute short, but, you know, just the message, you know, which again, you know, acts of kindness, which a lot of people, you know, should learn, should have already. You know, you really don't know who you're gonna meet. You don't know the blessings that may, you know, arise from just doing that. That's something that's, you know, that's good. So I would say Benevolence, and then for my very last one, I would say Fighting with Neighbors. It's just a short that I pretty much wrapped this weekend. Why? I can mention many other comedies that I've done, but this one in particular stood out because, for one, it is a comedy, and I love to laugh. I do believe, you know, that laughter is the best medicine that you can pretty much intake, because, again, life is so short that, you know, it can just be taken away in the blink of an eye. So, you know, I've met some amazing people on set, and it's crazy. We had a tri-state cast, so, like, we had New York in the house, you know, we had Jersey in the house, we had Pennsylvania in the house, and, you know, it was just an amazing time. It was a lot of laughs, great energy, and that's something that I honestly, you know, encourage for everyone to really experience and feel, you know, just the need to laugh, to be in a positive environment, creating, you know, yeah. So I would say those 3 projects would be on the top of my list.
That's a good variety.
Yeah.
Where do you, now, in this conversation, where do you get this perspective of life? Because your outlook of life is so positive. Where does it all come from? A lot of people don't have that. A lot of people, you know, are just either very across the board, or the outlook is bleak. Where does the positive attitude come from?
Well, I mean, I've always believe that everything, begins with you and ends with you. Basically self-discovery, self-reflection, everything for me has come from me within. And a lot of people, like you said, a lot of people, they don't really know what that is. But I mean, it's just like it comes with self and life's discoveries and obstacles that one goes through, and you really have to pay attention and really take everything that life throws at you with really with a grain of salt, because again, you definitely should get the message. And if you're not getting the messages, how do you really expect anyone to really take you seriously? And I would say definitely be confident,
be open, for sure.
Be open, be flexible.
Yeah. Don't
take really anything too personal, and just really live, have fun. Life is short. Why be miserable? Misery does like company, and that's something you cannot allow in your life. You have to have this positive perspective, every single day. You have to be your own cheerleader. No one's gonna cheer for you.
That's
Right. You have to give all these things to yourself. And the more that you give to yourself, the more confident, the more worth, value, and just, good, positive feeling, just everything, that you can give to yourself. It's gonna make you feel so much better. But you have to believe. Absolutely. And you have to put in the work.
Absolutely. And I think what you mean is confidence mixed with a little bit of humility.
Yes.
And not so much arrogance, but just confidence.
Yes.
Confidence about what you're doing. Where can we find your work?
Where can you find my work? Okay.
I want everyone to see it.
So if you can find my work. I do have ARiSEN on Amazon Prime. It's streaming now. You can just go to Amazon.com, search ARiSEN, or you can even search my name, Zay Rodriguez, and you'll find the film there. You can also go to my YouTube channel. It's Junito Studios. You'll feel, it's not so much content there, but if you want to at least, get a feel, a gist of what I do, you can go there as well. You can also look at my IMDb. If you search Zay Rodriguez, you pretty much see a mini bio, pictures of, me on sets, and upcoming, films that I have coming up, and past ones as well. And it gives you like a whole ton of information. Yeah, that's where you can find me.
I like that. Tell everybody what your IG is, or how to reach you directly if you want, email or whatever.
If people want, you guys can reach me at the official Zay Rod. That's my Instagram. I do more work there than on Facebook, but if some things, like I said, work for others better than anything else. So if you're not on Instagram and you're on Facebook, you can search for me at Zay Rodriguez. So yeah, that's how you can contact me.
Are you looking for interns? Give a shout out for anybody who wants to intern for you, because I feel like you have a lot of work coming up. You may need some interns.
I may need some interns. Yeah. So anyone that's looking, to collaborate, again, I'm open to collaborate with you. It's all fun and butterflies and sunshine over here. I do take my work seriously. I'm looking for, serious individuals who take themselves and their passions very seriously. And again, if doesn't matter if you're from New York or from Boston, if you want to make it work, let's make it work.
And there you have it. Words from the official Zay Rod. Everybody make sure you follow him on Instagram. Junito Studios, that's the place you need to go. Everyone, thank you for joining me for this episode of OneMicNite Podcast. My name is MarcosLuiss. You can find me at MarcosLuiss Everything, MarcosLuis. Find the show at OneMicNite. OneMicNite is spelled OneMicNite. Let us know what you think about these episodes. Share them, download, follow us, and follow the official Zay Rod for more information. We'll see you next time. This is OneMicNite Podcast. We're out.